Good evening. The president arrives tonight in New York City to growing protests over his handling of Saturday's deadly alt-right gathering in Charlottesville, Virginia, that ended with 3 people dead when a state police helicopter crashed and a car plowed into a crowd of counter-demonstrators. That's the demonstration right now outside Trump Tower. The president lands at Kennedy Airport in about 15 minutes. He'll then take Marine One to a landing pad near Wall Street and travel by car to Trump Tower, where, as you see, that sizable crowd is looking to greet him. It comes at the end of a day in which we learned something important about the president's priorities. We learned precisely how long it takes for President Trump to speak out against a deadly act of racist domestic terror, and precisely how many times he's willing to do it. 2 days is how long it takes, and as for how many times he's willing to, just the once. That's what we're left with at the end of a very long and searing 3 days for Charlottesville, Virginia, and for the entire country. And that's where we begin tonight. Earlier today, after failing to do so on Saturday, President Trump recognized the killing of Heather Heyer, though he did not mention her by name, and named some of the hate groups behind the Charlottesville event.
To anyone who acted criminally in this weekend's racist violence, you will be held fully accountable. Justice will be delivered. Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans.
Well, that is a change and a welcome one to Heather's mother, who joins us shortly. However, it took 48 hours of outcry over the president's initial statement, blaming many sides for the violence and leaving racist groups giddy with delight before he finally changed his tone. The fact that he did says plenty about Democrats and Republicans alike who kept up the pressure on him. It says something as well about just how strangely reluctant this president is to confront the alt-right, to the point of not even being able to speak out against neo-Nazis. After all, this is a president who has shown little restraint when it comes to either calling out acts of jihadist terror or, for that matter, slamming just about anyone, anytime, for any reason, big or small.
Crooked Hillary Clinton. Little Marco, lying Ted Cruz, lying Ted.
I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
Well, Rosie O'Donnell's disgusting. I mean, both inside and out. You take a look at her, she's a slob.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Well, just today, the president lashed out at a CEO who happens to be African-American who had quit his advisory council in protest of his initial response to Charlottesville. He had no problem naming the CEO, but neo-Nazis and Klansmen silenced for days. In addition to that, having read those carefully crafted remarks off a teleprompter this afternoon, the president made a point when given the opportunity just a couple of hours later to speak off the cuff of not repeating them. And late tonight, he went right back to complaining about the press, tweeting, made remarks on Charlottesville, and realized once again that the fake news media will never be satisfied. Truly bad people. So there's that. We'll talk with Heather's mother in a moment and go to the White House as well. First, though, we've got a new video of the deadly crash. We do want to warn you, it might not be something you'd want young people to watch. It's the first we are seeing it. It does provide a fuller picture of what happened exactly. Again, it is difficult to watch. Take a look. More breaking news tonight, more fallout from the president's tardy reaction in the Charlottesville tragedy. Another CEO has stepped down from Mr. Trump's manufacturing council, joining the CEO of Merck, who departed earlier today, earning the president's scorn. He is Kevin Plank. The company is Under Armour. The opposition to Confederate statues goes beyond Charlottesville, Virginia. Tonight in Durham, North Carolina, protesters took matters into their own hands, pulling down a statue representing a Confederate soldier and engraved with the Confederate States of America. As you know, the president's denouncement of the white supremacist rally and violence in Charlottesville came after a delay and an outcry from both Republicans and Democrats, it's important to point out. To those who closely watched the campaign, it didn't come as a big surprise. Multiple times, the now president failed to do what seems like it would be a no-brainer, criticizing racist hate groups. His latest misstep only seems to bolster the theory that he doesn't want to alienate any of his supporters, no matter who they are or what they might believe. Brianna Keeler tonight has more.
It takes a lot, too much, even those in President Trump's own party argue, for him to strongly criticize and disavow hate groups. Take David Duke.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Who rallied this weekend in Charlottesville and supported Trump's candidacy early on.
Did he endorse me, or what's going on? Because You know, I know nothing about David Duke. I know nothing about white supremacists.
But Trump did know about David Duke. He'd spoken publicly about him as early as 1991, shortly after Duke had an unsuccessful but surprisingly strong run for governor of Louisiana.
Did the David Duke thing bother you? 55% of the whites in Louisiana voted for him.
I hate seeing what it represents, but I guess it just shows there's a lot of hostility in this country.
In July of 2016, Trump tweeted this picture of Hillary Clinton against a background of dollar bills, which originally came from a white supremacist message board. Trump called the controversy a creation of the, quote, dishonest media, even dismissing the image's obvious use of the Star of David.
It's a star! And it actually looks like a sheriff's star, but I don't know.
Not long after, he weathered scathing criticism from Clinton, who charged that he was embracing the so-called alt-right, an ideologically nebulous group linked to white supremacy, anti-Semitism, anti-feminism, and xenophobia.
Now, of course, there's always been a paranoid fringe in our politics, a lot of it arising from racial resentment, but it's never had the nominee of a major party stoking it, encouraging it, and giving it a national megaphone until now.
And she took particular aim at Trump for his years-long obsession with President Obama's birth certificate.
Barack Obama should end this, and he should provide the public with a birth certificate.
Trump took the fringe conspiracy theory that President Obama wasn't actually American mainstream and did not admit the truth until shortly before the election. A rare condemnation by Trump of the alt-right came shortly after his election, when the white nationalist organization National Policy Institute convened in Washington.
Hail Trump! Hail our people! Hail victory!
Pledging support to the president-elect with a Nazi salute and displaying racist imagery at their gathering. Trump finally told the New York Times, "I don't want to energize the group and I disavow the group." Brianna Keeler, CNN, Washington.